Nothing noteworthy has really happened since my last video, so today I'm going to talk about how I think my schooling experience in my school is different than the others in America. I can't really say anything about the ones in other parts of the world because I don't know how school works in other places really. I know it's different, but I don't know how different. I just don't have any experience with that, I guess. And one of the major ways my school is different than what most people think of when they think of the American high school and stuff is I live in a town of about 3,000 people. My school district, it covers five, six towns that, have miles and miles in between them. They're not like a big group of towns. It's not like some sort of metropolitan area or nothing. It's a farming area. That's what Iowa is. It's farms. Except in that one town called Des Moines. That town is crap. It's fun to go to, but yeah. So there's not as many people, and there's not a lot of the big groups that just stick together and they don't mingle outside of their groups, which I've heard is a real thing, which seems weird to me. I mean, I've talked to people who go to schools where they have, like, the big groups of people, and like, I've heard things about these schools and stuff, and it just seems so strange to me because my school has always been the same people. I started off going to school in Jefferson, which is the town I live in now, and I didn't live in Jefferson at that point in time. I actually lived in a different school district, but in about the third grade, I switched from going to school in Jefferson to going to the East Green School District, which was a school district that constituted of students from several small towns on the eastern side of Greene County, and it was a really small school with class sizes of 30 to 40, and it was nice. You got a lot more attention, and like when I say a class size of 30 to 40, I mean when people were graduating, that's how many people graduated, not that each classroom had like 30 to 40 people in it, because that can be confused. And about 4 or 5 years ago, somewhere around there, East Green School District and the Jefferson Scranton School District merged to form the Greene County School District, which is the only major school district in Greene County. There's a smaller district called Peyton Sheridan that sends some of its students to Jefferson for part of their day in high school, but that school district is really just waiting to be merged with anybody. They're, tiny. They have some of their own sports teams, but some of their sports teams have combined with Greene Counties, with the Greene County high schools and stuff like that. They have their own elementary school, middle school, but the high schools are technically at a post-merger stage, kinda, sorta. But that's what our schools are. It's just, oh, we have a class size. Each graduating class is around 100 to 150 people now, so it's way bigger than what I was used to before. And I think overall there's about 600 students in the high school, something like that, compared to maybe 150 before. I mean, it's a lot bigger than what I'm used to, but it's tiny to everybody else. And that means several things. It means that the teachers know the students better. I have so many teachers that I have formed personal relationships with. Not everybody gets to form personal relationships with all of their teachers. Like, for example, my math teachers, at the high school I've had Miss Fisher and Mr. Smith, and they are both wonderful. And I haven't had Mr. Smith since my freshman year, but still, when he sees me in the hall, he calls me dumbass. Not a lot of teachers do things like that, but he's cool like that. And even my history teachers and my science well, one of the science teachers, I guess, the teachers there take the time to get to know the students personally, and they try to get to know all of them, and they tend to because there's only but so many students, and yeah, they have over 100 students come through their classroom every day, more than likely, but they don't have 1,000. And there's not a lot of teachers to get to know, and getting to know my teachers has made a big difference in kind of how I learn and how I look at the education system, because I can see that some of the stuff they're doing is for the regulations and some of it is just to give us better educations. And that's really great, and I love that they take so much time to put into each student, and they get the opportunity to do that, and you get to form something that's more of, you don't only see a teacher for that one class at one time. Chances are you're going to have several classes with him. Like my French teacher is going to be my French and my public speaking teacher next year. The world history teacher teaches history, geography. He has world history, 21st century history, and maybe another one, I'm not sure. And then he's got his geography class, and my American history teacher also taught a class called Hollywood versus History, which was really, really cool. And we watched movies the whole time. And then there's the teacher that teaches CAD and my basic electricity classes, the classes I built the robot in, which I love, which I'm gonna do more of next year. And he's set me up with a college. Well, he told me about a college, and then I went and contacted the teacher for the program I want to take, and that's really cool. One of the other major differences is the types of classes that we take in my school, and that doesn't really have to do with the size of the school. It has to do with some of the regulations in Iowa and things like that. And I've always heard about people talking about, oh, schools, they don't teach you how to do your taxes and how to blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? I took a class about doing taxes, applying for student loans, buying cars, and most of it was just common sense stuff. You fill out the forms. That's literally what 90% of it is. I don't know why people can't figure out how to fill out a form. I don't know why people can't figure out how to be responsible with their money. And I don't know why people think they need to blame the school system because they don't know how to not go into credit card debt. There's people who blame schools for not teaching people how to properly use credit cards. My school, that class that I just talked about, we learned a lot about credit cards, and it was great. We learned about renting houses and stuff, and most of that stuff really is just common sense. And the people who complain about all that stuff, they think that the school system is there to prepare them for life overall. But the way I see schools is they're there to give you a general education, something that gives you a way to kind of figure out where you want to go in your life. It's still up to you where you go in your life. And they can't just, oh, this is the job you want to have, this is the job you want to have, and they can't have these fully personalized educations because then you would have to have way more teachers. And because even in my school, where the student faculty ratio isn't that, there's less than 100 students for every teacher. I mean, it's wonderful, but they still can't, be like, oh, these are your interests and this is how you do life. They, that's not practical. And thinking that there should be classes to teach you about all sorts of different specialized things, that's not going to happen in a high school. It's the aim for high school is to get you ready to start working towards being an adult. When you get out of high school, nobody expects you to start adulting right then. They expect you to go to college, further your education, get some training for a specific job, and slowly ease into a career field. You're not supposed to go boom right into a job. That into a big, if you expect to get out of high school and be ready for life, you expect the wrong things. I think that one of the major things that has impacted my education is the fact that I love learning and that just about every subject I've taken so far has interested me, and that every time I start learning something, I want to learn more and more and more and more. And that helps me, and I do things that help me learn outside of school. Like, I watch educational videos on YouTube all the time. Well, not all the time here lately. It's been people being people and, but still, I do it sometimes. And I think if everybody were to expose themselves to the interesting sides of everything, then yeah, math would be fun if everybody could see things that aren't really easy to comprehend but are really cool, like Tupper's self-referential theorem, or whatever it is. Like, if everybody was exposed to that, then maybe they would like math more. And if everybody was exposed to Mobius bands, oh my god, I love Mobius bands, and everybody learned all the things about Mobius bands, that is math, and that is awesome. I think people thinking that the education system is fucked up makes it worse than it is. Having doubt that you're learning what you're supposed to be learning is not going to help you learn it. Trying to learn it and trying to further educate yourself is what will get you farther. Just going to school because you have to is not why you should be going to school. When you go to school, you should be going to school so that you can live your life to the fullest, so that you can expand your horizons. You don't want to be that idiot who dropped out because they didn't think it was important enough. Because learning about life, that's something that you have to do by living life. And the people who think that somebody can teach you how to live your life are wrong. They're just blatantly wrong, and you have to learn how to live your own life on your own. And that's one of the great things about the college experience, is that it's the space in between having your life completely guided out for you and having full control, because you have all that control, but you're still going to school and stuff, and there's still structure to it. And I'm just kind of rambling now. I am very passionate about the education system, and I think there needs to be some serious educational reform, but I think that it's not as bad as everybody thinks. I think one of the major problems is the students and not the teachers. Like, when I am sitting there taking a test and I can hear people asking other people the answers, that distracts me and it makes me do worse. I want to learn. If you're not there to learn, get out. If you don't want to learn, you can go and be stupid somewhere else. But you don't need to be sitting there talking during classes and distracting people who want to learn more. To me, that's the biggest problem, is people thinking they need to text during class Yeah, no, that distracts you. I know. I've texted during class. People who think they need to play games all the time. That distracts you. Being distracted doesn't help most people. Sometimes when you're playing a game or something and listening, as long as you're listening and paying attention to what is going on, that is okay. But the people who, they listen to their music and stuff, no. You're doing worse because of that. When you're getting bad grades and you're doing things that distract you from your schoolwork, that is your fault. People need to step up and be like, okay, this is my education and I am going to take responsibility for it instead of expecting everything to just be handed to them. I see way too much of people thinking that the world is just going to be, that their educations are just handed to them. And if they don't pick up everything the teacher gives them, then it's the teacher's fault, not theirs. It, Sometimes it is. But when there's half a class sitting there passionately listening to the teacher, and then other people just pissing it off like it's nothing, it's those people pissing it off that it's their fault that they have worse grades than the people paying attention. It's not the teacher's fault. If you're not paying attention, then you're gonna get bad grades. I mean, most people do bad in school because they don't want to do good. I think if you want to learn and you want to excel yourself, you are going to. I understand that maybe grades don't always reflect that. I get that. Because my grades don't always reflect it. But I used to have a 4.0 GPA, and I don't anymore because I decided I wanted to learn about the things I care about instead of just everything. And well, I kind of went into some things that I wasn't really good at learning about, and I got bad grades, and that happens. Not everybody is suited for everything, but I don't know where I'm going with this anymore. I suppose this is the end of the video, DFTBA. This is a long one. Wow.